Hello, I am Steve from Ragrut's Den, part of the Denizens role-playing game actual play group. And today I wanted to talk to you about something new that we've got in our shop that I am starting to pick up the pieces of and learn. I'm very excited. Just came in yesterday. It is Castles and Crusades. This is the player's handbook. And here we have the gorgeous 8th printing of the Castle's Keeper Guide, or the DM sort of like guide, if you like. This is a gritty fantasy, low fantasy role-playing game in the manner of good old classic Dungeons and Dragons, without all the, well, it's very much taking it back to, it feels like a sort of second edition or early edition of Dungeons and Dragons, and was created with the blessings of the legendary Mr. Gygax. It makes reference to him. I also have in the shop, I'm very excited about this. Don't tell anyone. Um, a signed first edition of Castles and Crusades, the very first sort of like printing, signed by the Rule Systems authors. Look, you can see their signatures. Davis, Chenault, and Mac Golden. The artwork by Peter Bradley, and the layout by Clayton Bunce, and the cover design by the same. Fantastic Troll Lord Games. It's where I've sourced this through my distributor colleague. Shout out to Alan from GMS. Very exciting. First time I've had a chance to look at this, and it really takes me back to playing good old second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I'll make no comment about current editions. Everyone has their own preferences, and the game is naturally diversified, but I don't recognise the game terribly well from when I used to play it back when I was a lad. As you can see from the beard and the hair and the deterioration and the wrinkles, I'm not a lad anymore. Well, look at this character sheet, which we can print out for you, by the way, in the shop. You know, we have printing facilities. We can print things for you at a small price because, you know, we have to cover our costs and paper and ink and wear and tear. Here's the Castle and Crusades character sheet that I've been rolling up a sample character. This is how I learn how to play games. I don't spend ages reading the rules back to back. I do like to skim read them. But what I will do is plunge in and start creating a character. And that's what I've been doing. I have rolled up an assassin because I always loved sort of like the assassin subclass. A halfling because, well, it just seems funny to me. And the stats I rolled old school. It's 3 to 18 stats on strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So there's nothing sort of like fancy or weird about it. It's just a good old fashioned 3 to 18 stats. I took the second option, slightly less than hardcore, which is 4d6. Drop the one that you prefer, the lowest number, and just roll one set of 6 stats. Don't mess around with matrices or re-rolling forever and ever. Just see what you get. I got a strength of 11, average, so a modifier of 0. Dexterity of 12, again average, so modifier of 0. Not so great for an assassin, I suspect, but constitution of 14 meant I get +1 mod for my hit points, and I rolled maximum my hit dice, which is a d6 for an assassin. Got 7 hit points, so he's pretty tough for a first level character. Intelligence of 10, not the brightest, not the dumbest. So a mod of 0. 15 wisdom, somehow he's got to be fairly wise. I'm going to struggle with that. I'm not really good at playing wise characters, so he gets a +1 mod for that. Charisma of 4. So that's a -2 mod. So, you know, he's not very approachable. He's a little sod, to be honest. So I'm already getting a flavour for him. He's got the standard assassin set of armor, which is a leather armor, +2 to his armor class, base of 10, so that's the 12 armor class. Simple. He does wear a leather coif, so if he gets hit in the head, he gets an extra +1. Tells me the weight of it, I tot up the weight. So 7 hit points, not too bad for a first level character, but don't hit me too hard if you don't mind. I get the classic class abilities: case target, climb, death attack, disguise, hide, listen, move silently, poison, sneak attack, and traps. Simple. Really straightforward. Casing a target means I have to observe them for a period of time, and then I get to know things about them, like their hit dice, their level within a sort of 10% sort of like probability, and certain quirks and sort of hidden features about them. I can climb any surface at half speed. You know, the attribute is a dex, and my dex ain't so great. It's all right, but it's not really that great. But I can climb surfaces other wouldn't be able to climb at half my speed. Um, Death attack means that if I study a character, you know, an opponent for 3 rounds and make a successful sneak attack and they fail their save versus death, they're dead. That's it. No flapping around. You know, there's none of this. How many saving throws do I have to sort of like make? And then, you know, how many times, you know, do I get to save and all that kind of stuff? It's sort of like straightforward. You're dead, basically. But, you know, if I don't succeed in the sneak attack, or rather, if I succeed the sneak attack and they don't make, they succeed the save versus death, it's still a sneak attack and I still get the damage from that. I can disguise myself, and there's sensible modifiers for that. Now, I'm imagining that given that I'm 3 foot tall, well, actually 3 foot 1, and the point 1 is very important, and weigh 55 pounds, so I'm running slightly into fat, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a halfling. There are limits as to what I can disguise myself at. And yes, sensibly, there are. You know, I can only sort of, I can only disguise my height and my weight so much, and if I try to sort of like change my gender presentation, and or my race, then it's harder for me to do successfully. But nevertheless, I can disguise myself. That should be quite funny as a 3 foot 1 sort of like person. I can hide, which means that, you know, I can move and remain unseen at up to half my speed. If I try and move faster, there's a penalty. I can listen, straightforward. It's obvious, and that's a wisdom stat. If I move silently, that's based on my dex, and there's move penalties if I try and move too fast, if I try and sneak about. I can make poisons, I can identify them, and I can create antitoxins, and they level up as we go up levels. I can make sneak attacks. Of course, the classic gives me a bonus to hit and a bonus to damage. Includes ranged. You know, within 30 odd feet or 30 meters or whatever the units of measurement is in here. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I've only just started. So that's fairly straightforward. I can find, disable, and set traps. So everything that you would expect an assassin to be able to do. I'll tell you what, I'm loving the idea of the death attack. I can just imagine this short, ugly, sort of like assassin sneaking, dropping in on you, and stabbing you to death. Mind you, I haven't chosen any weapons yet, so I'll carry on with the couch generation. Anyway, so yeah, learning Castles and Crusades. A gritty, realistic sort of like within the sort of like limits of a non-simulationist system that uses classic standard dice. I could get the old D20 out and have a good go at it in a minute, figure out how hitting something works against armor class, whether I have to roll high or low. I'm really looking forward to it. It sort of like energized me back into playing more traditional Dungeons and Dragons style games. You know, before they got changed and changed and changed and changed and changed to the point where I don't know what I'm doing. So I hope you enjoy your 5e. I hope you enjoy your 5.5. It's for you. For me, on the other hand, I'm enjoying something a bit different. Castles and Crusades. And it's got a lovely set of rulebooks, beautiful artwork. We've got all the kit and caboodle that you need down here in Ragnarok's Den. And already I've had a few people coming in interested to have a play of it. So I'm genning up. I think I'm going to end up running a bit of a Castle and Crusades one shot for some people later on. So yeah, come down, find out what it's all about. And it's a lovely day in Keighley, sun's shining. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.